Hi, Denise Gwen, reading aloud for you from A Good Christian Woman, Chapter 21, Part A. A thick blanket of white draped the entire backyard as I guided her down the snow-covered sidewalk and toward her back porch. The snow looked so pristine, so pure, so shockingly crisp and sharp, it took my breath away. Snowflakes danced in the air before me and settled on my beanie, my gloves, my shoulders. I stuck out my tongue and snowflakes landed on it. As I helped her up the steps, I noticed a bright blue plastic child-sized toboggan propped up against the wall beside the kitchen door. "Oh," I said, surprised. "When did that get here?" "It's been there all week," she gasped. "I'm collecting donations for Goodwill, and when I get enough of them, I'll load them up in the car and drop them off." "Oh, Mrs. McClintock, how can you possibly do that?" "Well," she said, a sly smile pulling at the corners of her mouth, "my good friend Kathy will be the one taking it to the Goodwill for me. Still, that's mighty nice of you to be thinking of others. I've been thinking of others my whole life." She pulled out a key and unlocked the door. It swung open into her snug, cozy kitchen. She hobbled to the sink. "This is the last time you're ever going to see me, Mary Ann. How about a last cup of tea before you head home?" "Oh, Mrs. McClintock," I protested, "you're going to beat this cancer." "No, I'm not. But you're a dear girl for pretending." "Sure, I'll have a cup of tea." She gestured toward the electric tea kettle. "I'm so weak these days. You mind filling it up?" "Of course not." I was in no rush. Mama had told me she'd run some errands while I was busy with Mrs. McClintock, and I knew not to expect her until 4 o'clock. Checked my Fitbit as I put the electric tea kettle under the tap and turned on the cold water. 2:55 in the afternoon. Plenty of time. And suddenly I needed to pee. Put the tea kettle on its burner, flipped the switch, and booked it to the half bathroom on the ground floor of the house. "Be right back," I called over my shoulder. When I returned, she was standing over the electric tea kettle. "Oh no, Mrs. McClintock, you need to rest. Let me make the tea." "Too late," she called out in a cheery voice. The tea kettle sang. She pointed at a cupboard to her far left. "I've got a lovely old teapot in the cupboard over there. Would you get it, dear?" "Of course." She hadn't used this teapot in years. It'd been stuffed into the very back of the cupboard, and it took me a few minutes to locate it and then to extricate it from behind all the other useless kitchen gadgetry and broken crockery. Carried it to the sink to rinse it out. She reached above her head for a box of tea. "Oh!" she cried out, dropping the box. "Oh, drat. Mrs. McClintock, let me get it for you." No, I have to do a few things myself." "No, let me." I picked the box up off the floor, pulled out 2 tea bags, and handed them to her. "I'm stubborn, aren't I?" she said sadly. "Yes, but it's all right." At last the tea was ready. She let me carry the tray to the table, and I sat down in my accustomed rolling chair, and she in hers, and she even let me pour. As I stirred my tea, she pushed a box of almond cookies toward me. I apologized for not having fresh cookies hot from the oven. "I understand completely." Picked out a cookie and nibbled. She'd gone to all this trouble to fix a pot of tea, but the poor dear's heart just wasn't in it. She didn't even drink her tea. "Oh, wait," she said, "the milk. I'll get it." "No, no, no, I'll get it." She heaved herself up and out of the chair and shuffled to the fridge. She returned to the table with the milk. "Oh, dear, the sugar. She's really slipping." She poured milk into her tea and handed me the carton, then returned to the cupboard for the sugar bowl and made her slow, agonizing way back to the table. She set the sugar bowl on the table. I helped myself to 2 cubes and stirred. "Drink my tea." She stared off into space. Honestly, I think she'd forgotten I was there. Checked my Fitbit. 3:20. Mama would be home soon and wondering where on earth I'd taken myself off to. As I stared at the digital screen on my wrist, the strangest sensation drifted over me. The digital numbers expanded, spilled out over the screen, and drizzled down my wrist. My vision clouded over. At the same moment, I became aware of a deep fuzziness coming over me, filling up my insides. It started in my vagina, took shape, swelled, expanded, rose, and grew.